What's up, guys? So I just got my car back from More Performance. Yes, again. Ironically enough, right after I made my video about not selling the STI and I said there weren't too many other things to break, one of my coil packs died. So I got a set of 4 new ones because once one goes, usually they all go. But the way I see it, that's one less thing to fix in the future. So now that I have my car back, it is time for round 2 with these brakes. If you saw my fail video, then you know the issue was that the caliper bolts were stuck and seized up and I could not get them out, and I didn't want to risk shearing them off, which does happen. Since then, I've done plenty of research and I have a few new ideas. Some were given by you guys in the comments. But first of all, I made my own penetrating oil by mixing acetone and ATF fluid. So I hosed all my rotors down with that, also in these holes. So hopefully it will get in between the rotor and help free that up. I also got the top bolt for the suspension because I have to remove that, and I obviously got the bolts for the calipers. So I'm gonna let this soak overnight, and I'm gonna get back to this tomorrow, and hopefully it'll be a little bit looser then. And if not, I have a torch, I have more fluid. In fact, I have another product called Freeze Off where it's supposed to freeze everything and literally shrink the bolts and stuff like that. So this time I am much more prepared to handle this. Alright guys, so I've been working on my car for about an hour now, and I have not been filming just because I am much too focused on trying to get these bolts out. This is absolutely kicking my ass, and I've been using everything. I even have a propane torch and a number of other things, and these bolts are so tight that pretty much nothing is working at all. But just like 2 seconds ago, I actually managed to shear off one of the bolts that goes through the back of my caliper. So it's not a matter of me not being strong enough or anything like that. It's just, it's not going anywhere. And like I said in my previous video, I think it's because they've been there since I've bought the car for 5, almost 6 years now. And they haven't been moved since. So the steel bolts have pretty much fused to the aluminum and they're staying where they are. But I'm getting my ass kicked right now. So I'm gonna try and at least get the other bolt out of this caliper. If the bottom one shears off too, that's okay. I have a helicoil kit for it. So hopefully I can get that done and taken care of tomorrow. So I know it's starting to already get dark out. Like I said, I apologize if this isn't as filmed as much as it should be. But there are plenty of other great install videos out there on the internet. And for me, this is just kicking my ass, and I really need to focus on getting this done instead of filming. But when I make big progress, I'll let you guys know. So we'll see how this goes. All right, guys, so that makes 2 for 2. These are so rusted and corroded that the penetrating oil isn't going anywhere. It's not getting where it needs to be. So I'm undecided if I'm going to take a break for the night or if I'm just going to kind of push on and see if there's anything else I can do. So it's day 2 with these rotors. As you know, yesterday I sheared a couple bolts. So I'm going to give More Performance a call and see if they have any in stock or if they could order them for me.
Is it a front or a rear?
So far I've just worked on the one of the fronts and I broke off both bolts.
Okay.
So I think it's going to be like that. So I'll take whatever you have, or if you could order 4 for the front and 4 for the rears.
Probably Monday, unfortunately. I don't know what your time frame is.
Yeah, Monday's fine. So if you could place that order, that'd be great.
Okay, I'll call. I'll make sure they can get it for Monday. I'll let you know when they come in.
All right, great. Thanks.
All right, have a good day.
Yep, you too. So it looks like we might get bolts Monday, possibly Wednesday, which for me is fine. I'm off this week, which is why you should always have a good wide open time frame to work on your car, especially if it's going to be on parts that are likely to break. All right, guys, so I've been hammering on these rotors all night and a little bit today, and they're just not budging. So I picked up 2 of these bolts, which are 8mm by 1.25, and they will actually thread into these 2 holes here and here, and that will allow me to pop off these rotors. I know a lot of guys can take off the rotors without hammering, and some can get it off with a little bit of hammering. But in my case, no matter how much I hammer, they aren't coming off. And a lot of that is due to living in the Northeast. And even when it was in South Carolina or Florida, there's still salt water and everything like that. So these hopefully will take care of my issue. Also, I wanted to mention that in this can here, I have a 50-50 mixture of ATF and acetone, which is working as a penetrating oil. It's supposedly some of the best stuff that you can have, even better than PB Blaster or Liquid Wrench. So unfortunately for me, this still isn't doing a whole lot, but I'm going to spray it in these holes before I thread in the bolts so that I can get these rotors off. Okay, so I did get my caliper off. As you can tell, these bolts were not going anywhere at all. They're completely rusted and are basically fused to the aluminum. So it looks like I'll have to drill those out, which is going to be a pain in the ass. Also, I have attached a bungee cord so that my caliper is not hanging by the brake line. And that's going to be fine just chilling right there.
But we're making this too hard, and I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show, 'cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the part you always show, 'cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. We're dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. You search but you stay lost.
Alright guys, we are finally making some progress. The bottom bolt sheared off just like the rest of them. But somehow, by the grace of God, the top one managed to come free. And I'm not sure if this is picking up on the camera, but there's actually aluminum in the threads, which is never good. So I'll probably have to re-tap this hole. I'll probably end up running a helicoil anyhow. I did order a whole set of bolts from Moore, so even though this one isn't really broken, it's still getting replaced. So I have the same problem with this caliper now that I had on the other side. I'll have to pop out the pads, break it loose. I'm gonna have to break free the rotor, which is probably gonna be a huge pain in the ass. But like on the other side, once I break the rotor free, I should be able to wiggle the rotor and the caliper loose and at least get that part off. Then I could worry about that caliper later. I have a drill press over at my grandparents' house, so I'll probably have to run over there and drill out the bolts and run a helicoil through and hopefully be able to rethread them.
We are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost. We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard.
And that is exactly how removing your brakes is supposed to go. Thank you, car gods. All right guys, so for the rears, apparently the car gods were smiling down upon me. They both came off with minimal effort. Each one took about 5 minutes max. And as you see in the video, it took no effort at all to remove them. No strip bolts, no broken bolts, nothing, which is awesome. So I'll show you what's going on with my rotors. The fronts aren't in terrible shape, although they are pretty rutted, you know, worn out. both are about the same as far as wear goes, but they're getting old. There's a pretty decent sized lip on the edge from them being worn out, but it's not terrible. The rears are another story. The rears are very heavily worn out on the outside, but especially on the inside. Now, as you can see, they're starting to rust in here, which created a lip. And hopefully you could see this on my pads. It actually caused a nice rut in the pads as well. I just changed these pads last year, and that's what that's from. So it's pretty damaged. This side is even worse, as you can see. But yeah, definitely time to replace my rotors and pads. I would love to be able to say the hard part is over. Thankfully, I got all my rotors off. But now I still have to run a helicoil kit through pretty much 4 holes in both of my front rotors, which absolutely is going to suck, but it should be doable. I'm probably going to make a separate video about that. I've never done a helicoil kit myself, but I've seen it done and I could read instructions online, so I'll definitely show you guys that when I do it, but I can't give you a how-to. It should be fairly simple. But with that being said, right now I'm going to clean up all my brake parts and get them nice and clean and ready to go back on. Then I need to clean my new rotors, because new rotors always ship with packaging oil so that they don't rust while they're, you know, sitting on a shelf in a warehouse or in shipment. So I need to clean those off with brake cleaner, or acetone works as well. And then yeah, then I'm going to, I am going to put anti-seize on the hubs before I put on my new rotors, so that way next time I go to take them off, they should pop off a lot more easily. And that should be about it, so let's get to it.